Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking, I'm making buffalo shrimp. These are big fat shrimp, lightly breaded and fried, tossed in a classic buffalo wing sauce. If you missed last week's restaurant review episode, then you might want to check that out for a little bit of context. But these are so fast. These would be a great, quick weeknight meal, but they're also fancy enough that you could serve them at a party or something because they actually taste pretty good at room temperature. So let's get started because they only take about 30 minutes, super fast. Now I'm gonna start out with the sauce. So I've got a stick of butter here, but am I gonna use the whole stick? Hell no, I'm not, Paula Deen. We're just gonna use about half of this, so about 4 tablespoons. And this will do a pound of shrimp. I'll get to the shrimp in just a second. So I'm just gonna toss my butter, into a small pot here, and then add the Frank's Red Hot. So this is the sauce to use when you're making classic buffalo wings. You don't need to buy a jar of Hooters wing sauce because literally 2 ingredients and you have the classic. So I'm gonna measure about a 1/4 cup of this, and you can double the sauce recipe. You just wanna keep the ratio of sauce to butter at about just 1 to 1. So 1/4 cup butter, 1/4 cup of Frank's Red Hot. Because I like to buck tradition, I'm gonna add a couple dashes of Louisiana habanero sauce just to make it a little bit spicier. And you can totally omit that, obviously. Or you could add some garlic powder or onion powder or some paprika, stuff like that to make it a little more your own. So you can have a Hooters in your own house. I'm gonna turn that on low, just basically let this kind of hang out. Once the butter's melted, we'll give it a little whisk to combine it. Then we can just leave it on the stove here, let it hang out, stay warm until we're ready to put it on our scrimps. My little brother used to say scrimps. It was so cute. He's a cutie. Okay, so let's move on to the scrimps. So for the shrimp, I'm using a large shrimp that's about this size. This is a 21-25. And what that means is that there's 21 to 25 shrimp in a pound, and that's how shrimp are categorized. So the higher the number, the smaller the shrimp. You can use jumbo shrimp where there's only maybe 10 to a pound. But this, I think, is the perfect size for this recipe. It's 2 bites, and it's big enough to look impressive. So I got the easy peel ones that have already been deveined. So then all you have to do is peel off the rest of the shell and the little leggies. But I'm gonna leave the last sort of knuckle of the shrimp so that we keep the tail on there, because that makes a nice little handle for dipping and for eating. And they just look prettier on your serving plate. Oh, dang it, wrong place. Make sure not to mix up your shells and your shrimp. So I'm just gonna drop the shells back in the bag from whence they came, and voila. So I've left this little end and the little floop. Isn't that cute? Okay, I'm just gonna keep doing that to all my little shrimps. All right, so shrimp are peeled. We're gonna work on our dipping process here. So first, I'll need an egg. So I'm gonna whisk up 1 egg with a couple tablespoons of water, and just wanna mix it up until it's super duper combined. Make sure to get it all over your countertop, because that's healthy. Okay, gorgeous. Then the flour dip. Just plain all-purpose flour. We're gonna put some flour in there. And then some seasoning salt. So I like Tony Chachere's, which is a Creole seasoning, so it's kind of spicy. You can use any kind of seasoning salt that you like. This one always makes me want to sneeze. Ooh, okay, just get this mixed up with your little paws. And then we're gonna set up our assembly line. Super simple. And this is why you're gonna be glad that you have the tails on the shrimps, because handles. Shrimpy, just a light little dip in the egg, drop off the excess, and then a little roll in the flour. And as I coat each of these, I'm just gonna leave them in this flour bowl, just kind of push them off to the side there. Okay, so once they're all kind of dredged around in there, I just wanna make sure they're all really well coated. And then we're gonna take this whole bowl of shrimp and put it in the fridge for as long as it takes to heat up our frying oil. So whatever, 5 to 10 minutes. You can totally leave them longer than that too if you want to make this a little bit in advance, maybe 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna heat up some oil. I've got a deep pot here. I just want about 2 inches of oil. So depending on how big your pot is, that's gonna be probably 2 to 3 cups of oil. 1.5 inches of oil will do. And I'm using vegetable oil, which is actually soybean oil. I don't know why they always call it vegetable oil, which is what they had at my C-store. But other good oils for frying are grapeseed oil, peanut oil, corn oil, canola oil. Those are all really good for like high heat, deep fat frying. I've got a whole post all about different kinds of oils written up on my website at hilahlcooking.com if you want to read more about oils for cooking. So I'm gonna just let this heat up to 375. No, I'm not a magician who magically knows how hot things are. I'm gonna use a thermometer. Ooh, I like this one because it's electronic and it has a large digital readout. And it has a little like alarm you can set to tell you when a thing is at a certain temperature. So you can totally just like put your meat on the grill and then go inside and start watching TV and it'll just tell you when it's ready. So we're gonna let this heat up to 375 Fahrenheit. And in the meantime, there's nothing to do. So hopefully you have some friends over to talk to. I just like to talk to myself. Okay, we're ready to fry. So little shrimpies. I'm gonna hold them by their tails and carefully drop them in. But for heaven's sake, don't do what I do. Use tongs or a slotted spoon or spider or something. But man, I like to live on the edge. And you just want to drop in maybe 6 at a time. You don't want to crowd it too much and make them stick together. And then also you don't want to drop your oil temperature too much because we are frying them at a pretty high heat. And that's going to make them cook quickly so they don't get overcooked because they're shrimp and they overcook easily. And also keep oil from soaking into the crust too much. So keep your thermometer in there and watch it and adjust your heat as necessary to keep it between like 365 and 380. And you want to let them fry for about 3 minutes. If you're using jumbo shrimp, maybe 4 minutes, or if you're using small shrimp, maybe just 2 minutes. And because we are cooking them quickly and getting them really crispy without soaking up a lot of oil, that means that these will stay delicious for a longer time. So you can put them out. If people don't eat them right away, I mean, whatever, they're fine. They're totally fine at room temperature, even with sauce on them. Still delicious. Smells shrimpy. All right, so these look good. They're kind of a golden blonde brown, and the tails have turned pink. That's how you know they're definitely cooked. And I'm just gonna put them on a little baking sheet here with a rack. And when you're frying stuff, if you drain it on a rack as opposed to paper towels, it stays crispier too, because the steam that comes off of it doesn't just sit around and like sog up the crust. Aren't those beautiful? Super pretty. Okay, then I've got my sauce here. So before we sauce these, I'm going to just whisk it together to get the butter and the Frank's combined because it does kind of separate as it sits because it's all natural. Okay, that looks good. We're ready to plate. Wings, you know, normally get tossed in a sauce, but shrimp are a little bit more delicate. So what I like to do is arrange them in a nice little dish or a big plate or whatever. I mean, use whatever you have. Trash can lid, I don't care. Then we're just gonna drizzle some of this sauce on top of them. As much or as little as you like. And then if you wanna keep it simple, you can serve it with a little lemon wedge. Ta-da! Or you could get fancy like I'm doing and make some homemade blue cheese sauce. So this recipe is also on my website at hilahlcooking.com. Blue cheese dressing, homemade. So I like to do a little bit of both because nothing says delicious seafood like lemon. Actually, an Italian guy told me that in Italy, they only put lemon on your food at a restaurant if they know that the seafood is not fresh. So I guess that's where Olive Garden learned their tricks. Okay, now I'm just gonna dunk it in here. See, look at this beautiful big fat shrimp. It's gonna take me like 2 bites to eat. 1 bite if I'm being a little piglet. Look at that, it's amazing. Holy shit, that's yummy as hell. This recipe and all my recipes are all available at hilahlcooking.com. I do hope that you try this. Also check out the restaurant reviews video. It's a little twofer, a little two-parter for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And hey, If you're looking for more easy and delicious recipes, most of which are healthier than fried shrimp, check out my Learn to Cook book. Okay, I'll put a link in the bottom. Thanks, have a great day, bye. And if you're watching this on iTunes, please, please, please go leave us a review. It helps a lot. We just started uploading all of our videos to iTunes because we had a lot of requests. So the more reviews, the more we'll do. Hey, that's a good rhyme. Okay, thanks, bye. It's okay to eat shrimp, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Oh my God, that was so creepy.